Who will be on the Part 1 banners for Dokkan's 11th anniversary? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We are back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, we are 5 days away from the start of Dokkan Battle's 11th anniversary. And in this video, we are going to break down who we assume will be on the Part 1 banners. The last time we took a look at the banners for the 11th anniversary, we were centered and focused around figuring out how to grind out both super attack and medals for all of the units across part 1 and part 2. But now that we know the theme, we can kind of pinpoint exactly who will be on the part 1 banners. Now that we know the theme is Dragon Ball Daima. So let's go ahead and let's hop on in and take a look at the Dokan Fest banner first. Now, we're going to base this off of who we know was on the 10th year anniversary banners and, of course, the GDC banners, as, right, knowing who was on both will help us kind of figure out who how this banner will be set up, as you know, it's pretty predictable. So starting with the Dokkan Fest banner here, right? So we're going to assume that Daima Super Saiyan 4 Goku is going to be the Dokkan Fest, as he's probably the most anticipated out of the two, although it could end up being Vegeta and Goku could be Carnival. It honestly doesn't matter who is what, right? Because the banner itself will remain the same regardless. So we know that whichever LR there will be will take up 1 slot, and the banner unit will take up the 2nd slot. So that's already 2 slots out of our 10. We know it will be 10 units because it's been 10 units for a while now, right? We'll have the 2 new units and then 8 returning and easy A units. So we can safely assume that our first returning unit will be the Tech Goku that transforms into Vegito from the 10th anniversary. This is pretty standard following both GDC and the pattern from the 10th anniversary, right? The part 1 from the year prior usually shows up on the part 1 for the main anniversary banner. And since Gogeta was on part 1 for the GDC, it's pretty safe to assume he's going to be Vegito will be the one to return on part 1, right? Opposite that of GDC. Now, for GDC, the part 1, I'm actually going to assume Goku will be the returning unit, STR Goku and Vegeta. The Blues, I'm assuming they will be the part 1 returning unit, since they were the part 1 unit from GDC. And as we can see from the anniversary last year, the part 1 LR from Worldwide was the one to return on the part 1 banner. So it's pretty safe to assume that Goku and Vegeta will be on the part 1 banners, right? So if you missed out on them during GDC or during the Black Friday banners or picking them up at any other point at which they were available, you'll definitely have this opportunity now. For the 9th anniversary returning unit, we can safely assume that it will be the Broly, again, following the trend from the previous year, right? The part 1 of the 8th anniversary returned so the 2 years ago. Although, I mean, it could have been either part 1, but the Z duo ended up being that one, so let's say it's Broly. If it's not Broly, it's Beast. It really doesn't matter. I don't know too many people that are chasing after that, but it really, you know, if it's not Broly, it will be Beast. But I think it will be Broly, especially given the lead that more than likely the Dokkan Fest is going to have, right? I have a feeling Broly's going to be on their lead. Although, I mean, if he ends up getting demonic powder, so will Beast. So, and the LR Fizz, Goku, Vegeta, Goku, Trunks, and Gohan will also likely return on the part 1 banners. And if not him, it'll be Int Broly. But I do think Int Broly has pretty consistently always been on a part 2 banner, right? Even for GDC from this year. So I think it's pretty safe to say he'll be there this time. Okay, for the next banner, the next unit, the 8th anniversary. So here's where things get weird for this final slot, the 8th anniversary LRs. Now, I'm going to assume it's going to be one of the 8th anniversary LRs. I'm assuming the GT Duo, since the first one is centered around, since the part 1 is centered around Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and there's a Super Saiyan 4 here. They could justify. I don't think it really matters. If it's not the GT Duo, it'll be the Z Duo regardless. However, I'm not entirely sure it'll be one of them either, because the thing is we know from the 11th anniversary countdown banner that the where is it? The Vegeta, the Daima and the Glorio are scheduled to be made available on this banner, right? So they will show up on the anniversary banners, right? So that's 3 slots that are ate up by TURs, which it's an interesting choice because that's less TURs than we usually have on an anniversary banner. But I guess since it's Daima, they figured that's what people want, unless they're just going to drop just some random Daima banner that's going to include them, which would be odd, because if they were going to do that, then why not just leave this banner up, right? But this banner goes away on the 28th, and so I'm assuming, based on the wording here, that these guys will be on the Dokan Fest banner. Now, it's very possible that they return to the dual Dokkan, since these are both brand new units, that instead of one of them being a Carnival, it's very possible that they're both Dokan Fest, in which case our banner prediction from from a week ago with all of the Dokan Fest, that would just be who is here. But we're going to work off of them maintaining the Dokan Fest Carnival format because they've maintained it pretty consistently since Worldwide 2023. So we're going to assume that that's what it is. So 3 Daima units will be here, and then this unit here. So this also makes me think that there is likely a chance that LR, STR Cooler, and Bird Crew might not EZA, because they're not, unless they throw STR Cooler on the part 2 banners. But then that begs the question, right? Who's going to be the what 3 TURs are going to take up the part 2 banners? Because I doubt they're going to unbalance them like that. That would be weird. So it'll be interesting for sure to see how they handle it. But this is what I'm assuming it's going to look like. If they drop the 8th anniversary LRs and put them on the part 2 banners, then this final slot here with the GT Duo will likely be the STR LR Cooler, or the AGL Blue Sands, which I'm thinking is unlikely, because then, right? Yeah, I mean, that would be that would just be a little bit too far back when it comes to WWC. So I am thinking that it's more than likely going to be either Cooler or the 8th anniversary LR. So that is the Dokan Fest banner. Now, if you're wondering how to grind out any of their super attacks who could be here, or any of their medals, make sure you check out our part 1 prep guide. We will definitely put that in the description, so you can check that out if you're curious how to grind any of these guys out for medals and or super attack. So with that, let's jump into the Carnival banner. Now, the Carnival banner is going to be a little bit interesting here, because again, with the Dokkan Fest banner being a little messed up from this year, it's gonna, I think that really messes things up. Plus, last year was a top legendary, so the prediction side of this is going to be a little bit different. So we're actually going to more base our prediction based off of how they handled the legendary summon Carnival for the Rose during part 1 of GDC. So if we assume it's going to be similar than that, right, we can pretty much assume we're going to have, a full set of possibly 10 LRs, if not like one random side banner unit. But I'm going to assume full LRs for the purposes of this video. So taking a look here, we know that the new Carnival Vegeta will eat up 1 slot here. So that means we have 9 other returning Carnival LRs. Now, if we look at the top legendary summon from the 10th anniversary and from GDC, we can see that GDC returned 1 part 1 and 1 part 2 unit. And then we can see that, right, the top legendary summon Carnival from the previous year returned the part 2 LR from the 9th anniversary and the part 2 LR from GDC. So this makes me think that we're going to see on part 1 a part 1 from 10th anniversary, a part 2 from 10th anniversary, and the part 2 from the GDC, and the part 1 from the previous worldwide is kind of how I see this playing out. So, and the main reason is I think Vegeta will lead some type of leader skill that will allow for these 3 to be on his leader skill. I'm actually assuming maybe some form of power beyond Super Saiyan for a Carnival LR, and these 3 will slide nicely onto his leader skill. And plus, with Super Saiyan 4 being in the main one, I can imagine the 2 Super Saiyan 4 Carnivals being in part 1 as well. So, because Gogeta is going to be a huge draw. People knowing that Gogeta with those amazing animations are coming back, he's going to be a huge draw to the banner like the Vegeta is. So, I could see them being on there. Then the part 1 for the Broly, and then the I'm going to assume it's going to be like the GDC and bring Gogeta, so opposite the top legendary from the year prior. Because I think the structure is going to be a little bit different. Then I imagine we're likely going to assume we're going to see. Now this is going to be so these 2 are up in the air, right? Like I said, if STR Cooler ends up on part 1, then Metal Cooler or Bird Coup will likely be on part 2. More than likely part 1 banner. So this right here, the Metal Cooler, will be either Bird Coup or him, depending on which one they put on the part 1. And again, that depends on what they decide to do with that 8th anniversary LR. If no one, then this is they might just slide both Kid Goku and Kid Gohan here together, since neither one of them look like they're going to be easy aim. We know for sure that the STR 5 guys will be there, right? And we know that because he easy A'd, and usually when there is an easy A, Carnival, or Yellow Coin LR, they end up being in the slot here. Now, the STR Gohan is a stopgap for right now. He might be here on the banner because he would likely fit under any form of lead that the Goku has, especially if he ends up having any kind of Goku's family or any kind of demonic power. He would slide nicely on there. However, much like the Dokkan Fest, I don't think the 2023 will be there. However, what he could be is any yellow coin LR that ends up easy-ing. There aren't many that would fit the theme, but if there is one, it could be him. Otherwise, this could also cover the place of another Carnival easy A, right? So the Kid Gohan, the Kaigo, whoever it ends up being, right? So these 3 are kind of really up in the air, and it depends on how they decide to structure. We know it won't be Goma at the very least as a yellow coin, because he is, right, unlike the Dokkan Fest TURs, who are explicitly stated to come on that banner on the 28th with the Dokkan Fest. These guys are not specified for when they're going to return. It just says they will return soon, which to me screams they'll likely be on the part 2 banners. We know for a fact Goma won't be here. So I'm assuming, just based on previous trends, that it's going to look something like this for the Carnival, with these 3 sort of being up in the air, depending on who ends up taking this last slot for the Dokkan Fest banner. So it'll really depend there. So just like with the Dokkan Fest, if you want to see how to grind out any of these characters, regardless of who it ends up being, check out our Carnival prep guide in the description down below. I'll link it in the description so you guys can check that out. So, guys, that is it for our video. That is who we likely assume will be on both Carnival and Dokkan Fest banners for the 11th anniversary. Remember, we are about 5 days away from the start. If you haven't started prepping, start prepping now. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.